and Katie is on. Okay, everyone, I think we'll have a few people trickling in still, but let's get this show on the road. My name is Nick Hansen. I'm the creative director at Franchise Ramp, and thank you so much for joining us for our monthly ramp up. I'm super excited for this latest edition of our webinar series that includes a mix of in the trenches knowledge and high-level strategy, along with a featured interview with a franchisee. Today, we have Pure Barre Lake Mary franchisee Ellen Dailey, and our awesome franchisee success manager, Katie Valenti, will conduct the interview. We will start today with a tactical tools session with Franchise Ramp account manager, Jake Hodges. But first, we'd like to say thank you so much for taking the time to attend today. The monthly Ramp Up's goal is to give you a coherent picture of what's happening at the intersection of marketing and franchising. We want this to be a tight-knit community for franchisees to share knowledge and gain insight. Our mission at Franchise Ramp is to help franchisees realize their entrepreneurial dreams. We were tired of working with digital marketing agencies who didn't understand franchising or sales in general. So we took matters in our own hands, became Facebook experts, and added other digital marketing experts to our team. We are the new standard in franchise digital marketing and help clients obtain more quantity and higher quality leads. Please come back and join us again next month. And now, without further ado, it's time for our tactical tools session with Jake Hodges. Take it away, Jake.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Nick. Excited everyone could be here today. We're going to talk about retargeting. It's a really in-depth topic. There's so much that goes into it, but I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible and easy to understand, and how we use it and how we're using it in your accounts to lower cost per lead. So retargeting is when you show an ad to someone who has previously interacted with your business, whether that's from a customer list. We'll kind of get some of the sources, with your Facebook page, your Instagram, they visited your website. The most common type of retargeting we use involves opening lead forms. So sometimes people click on ads, but they don't submit their information. So to drive them towards a membership, we show them more ads. On the graphic here, you can see the basic steps of retargeting. So we've got the visitor, and the first step is when they see your content. This could be on Facebook, Instagram, or wherever you're publishing your online content. Step 2 is when the visitor engages with your content. Then they move on to something else. The visitor leaves. When the visitor does not submit a lead form, they'll be added to their retargeting audience. That's in the bottom right there. And they will be shown more ads to try to get them to then convert. Does it work for every business every time? We get a lot of questions about retargeting. I'd say that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's something that we continuously test out. We always use it when it's more likely to produce higher converting leads at a lower cost. Every client is unique, so each approach has to be unique as well. We test it out, and that's the fun part. So there's a few sources that you can use for retargeting. Basically, the sources are where the visitors come from. The most common ones that we use are websites, videos, lead forms, events, and anyone that's interacted with your Facebook or your Instagram account. So your website, that is where your Facebook pixel is installed. That's how Facebook knows what actions people are taking on your websites. We can then remarket to them under certain conditions based off of their interaction. Videos, this could be anything that is either paid, so they've seen a paid video ad, or they've seen something organically that you have published on your page as well. Lead form, that's our favorite one. So anyone who has opened a lead form but maybe not submitted it. I'll get into a little bit more how we can define who those people are. Events, this is a really cool one. So anyone who has interacted with an event that you've had at your business before, they said that they're interested, they said that they attended, you can remarket to those people. This would be great if you hosted an event, trying to grassroots, really get the word out. People are responding to the event on Facebook. They say that they're attending, they show up. Well, the follow-up from there, even if they don't engage with the business then, is to show them retargeting ads after the event. Right, so we can narrow down who these people are. So we have our sources, which is basically where the visitors come from. The audience definition is how they engage with the content. Here we've got the lead form as the source. It's going to be anyone who has opened the lead form, but did not submit it. We select the Facebook page that the lead form is attached to. We select the different lead forms that we want to use. Like, let's say we're running a giveaway and we want to follow that up with a retargeting campaign of people who engage with the giveaway, but now maybe we can get them to fill out an actual lead form to become a member, not just for a giveaway. And we chose to set the retention to 90 days. So this means anyone who's interacted with that lead form that we chose over the last 90 days. You can really dig into I'll go back to the retargeting sources here of who you can define and how they've interacted with your business. For your Facebook page, for example, you can advertise to people who only like your page, maybe people who only saw your ads. Your Instagram account, people that physically, left a comment, liked the post, not just saw it. Videos, you can set it to, I only want to show videos to people, retargeting ads to people that are familiar with my product already. Maybe you have a great, like a general video ad to show out there, get people used to the idea. Well, people that would be most likely to submit a lead are probably those that know about the product a little bit, that have some idea of what it is. So we can say, okay, let's show retargeting ads to people that saw at least 50% of the video or 95% of the video. They made it almost all the way through. They saw what you wanted them to see. Now we can show them an ad. So here's some ad examples. This is what the customers would see on their end. They're not going to know that they're in a retargeting audience. I mean, everyone kind of does. Once you click on an ad or you're shopping around on Amazon, you can't get rid of the product sometimes, even after you purchased it. That's the retargeting. So this is some examples on what they could look like. The phrasing on these can be a little bit different, a little bit of a different approach to trying to get the lead. So the one on the left here, it says, there is still time to grab your free class. So creating urgency, saying, yes, we know that you saw the ad the first time. There's still time. This offer is still available. And then at the bottom left of that first ad says only a few spots left, again, to create some urgency. The one on the right is spots are filling up fast. We have an alarm. It gives it, again, some urgency. Now is your chance to experience Pure Barre for free. Tap to save your spot. Here's your free class. Limited availability. So we can continuously show these people ads after they've already engaged with the business, again, in hopes that they will now submit their lead instead of just clicking on the ad or looking at it. So the results of retargeting, generally they have a higher click-through rate, which means also a lower cost per click. So it's cheaper to advertise to these people because they've already seen your content, they're familiar with it. They're more likely to engage than someone who isn't most of the time. They also have a higher lead form submission rate, which is great. So in general, I'd say about 20-ish% people actually submit a lead when they click on the ad. With retargeting, we see a higher lead form submission rate because they have almost completed that step of submitting lead. All this equals out to a lower cost per lead. So the goal is to always, test this out in accounts, try our best to keep showing ads to people in order to get a lower cost per lead that are high quality and the ones that are going to convert. Not just volume. We're not just trying to get as many as we possibly can. We want a lot of leads, but we also want high quality leads. So finding the balance, and sometimes retargeting can definitely help with that. So from there, I will pass it on to Nick Hansen or Katie Valenti for the next step. Hopefully that was helpful.
Jake, that was super helpful. And if you have any questions about that presentation, please message us in the chat or in the Q&A function. And now we'd like to introduce Franchisee Success Manager, Katie Valenti. Take it away, Katie.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Nick. And thank you, Jake. Awesome presentation. Like always, I feel like I learned so much from you. So thank you for sharing. I am so excited to welcome Miss Ellen Dailey to the franchisee interview today. She is just a ball of sunshine, and we're so lucky to get to work with her, and she's doing great things at her studio. So thank you for joining us, Ellen. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Well,
Good.
First things first, how did we get here? How did you get started with franchising?
It was a pretty naive little journey because I had been in fitness as an aerobics instructor, a Pilates reformer, personal trainer, you name it, I have taught it. And I found Pure Barre, and it put everything together that I loved about each of the exercises. So when I moved from Alabama to Florida, none of the studios were very close to me. So I thought, I'll just open my own. So that was, lots of mistakes made along the way due to
That's okay.
naiveness.
Those are the best learning opportunities.
Yes, exactly. But the thing I have found that the success of the studio comes because of my passion for what I do. It's
Mhm.
not a job. It is a service to the ladies that walk through my door. And I have been very fortunate to have a team that really embraces the same concept. And it's genuine, it's authentic, and people can tell that.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I think that's definitely what sets you apart and really makes your business successful is the passion and the people that you surround yourself with. That's half the battle. You have to have a good team around you too, because
Right.
as much as we want to sleep and eat at the studio all the time, you have to go home, you have to see your wonderful grandson and everything. So, absolutely. No, that's wonderful. So, with that, what results have you achieved with your location recently? And what do you think was the biggest contributor to that success?
Recently, I would say, I, they're not paying me for this, I promise, but it's jumping. Number one, because money was kind of tight during COVID,
Mhm.
I did not use digital marketing. Then I decided, okay, it's time to re-embrace that. And because you did such a great job for me pre-COVID, I came back to you.
Yeah.
And so in August, I think it was August, was it July 1st, Katie, or August 1st?
I think it was August 1st. Yeah.
Yes. I think we started it at one level in July. I
Mhm.
talked
Mhm.
with
And then we
some-
graduated. Yep.
Yes, I talked with someone from Raleigh, North Carolina that uses you that
Mhm.
said, you really need to up your spending. So I doubled it.
Mhm.
And that was huge.
Yeah.
It was a big jump for me. It took my profits that I was showing up to that point, but in the meantime, we have definitely bypassed it. So the format does work. What you spend in advertising, you do get back. And then
Absolutely.
also adding more pure foundations, our intro classes, and some light classes.
No, absolutely. Really tailoring it to the audience that you have it at your studio. That's an
Right.
ongoing conversation that I find myself having with clients and owners is know your audience, know the people that you are targeting to, and really hone into them. And I think you do a really good job at your studio doing that also. You know
Yeah.
your audience, which is great. All right. Is there a particular experience that you can draw from that has helped you make some crucial decisions since you've opened? How long have you been open?
I've been
Let's
open
start with that.
4.5 years.
4.5 years. So in those 4.5 years, do you have any specific experiences that you draw from that you were like, that was a good decision that we made. I'm happy we did that.
We are in the process of doing that right now. I just shared with you in our last conversation.
Yeah.
I've always had a burden for the ladies that come in and either foundations is too hard for them. They struggle with a large amount of overweight or their physical limitations.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I have tried to go and then when we would have them in foundations, intro classes, it would be too big of a step from foundations to our classic class that they would go to classic one time and we would never see them back again.
Mm-hmm.
So I have developed a class using Pure Barre format that does a lighter version and kind of is a step between foundations and classic. And then
Nice.
also for the ones that struggle with getting up and down off the floor, still using Pure Barre technique and all, but doing abs at the bar so that we can strengthen their thighs and eventually get them into up and down off the floor, but then not losing those people that really need Pure Barre.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that really continues to show how you're servicing the people in your area. You're
Right.
noticing, you're taking note of your members that you're having and the community that you're building and really focusing on them. And that's truly the heart of the studio or is the members. So good for you guys.
Thanks.
Absolutely. That's great. Well, with everything craziness you were mentioning before with COVID and everything, we paused you and then you came back. So what ways were you able to foster that kind of like sense of community and strength during those like hard times of COVID? What were you guys focusing on to get through that patch?
You know, I think it's a lot of it is what we cultivated even before it.
Yeah.
I think I had up until August of this year,
Mhm.
I really never lost money. My members stayed with me. We went to our homes and did live streams from our homes when we were
Amazing.
closed for a month. They got to see my dog bark in the background and my Roomba start up and come through. The girls, my teamwork did the same thing at their house, introduced their dogs.
Mhm.
Their children were coming through and stuff. It was, I think our members saw us in our knit and grit of all of day.
In all
My
your
husband walked-
glory.
Yes, yes. And so they really enjoyed that. And we continued to do live stream for the ones that were very COVID sensitive.
Mhm.
So we kept doing live streams even when we came back to the studio
That's
for
great.
our members. So they were very supportive of the studio and helped me. I gave each one of them a tank top for supporting me called
Yeah.
Quarantined. So it just, but even developing community now, like we just had our first pop-up. We're about 45 minutes from the beach. So we
Okay,
went out to the
nice.
beach and had a pop-up, and that was a lot of fun last Saturday.
Building that sense of community. No, I remember in the height of COVID with everything, I teach youth theater to kids too on the side for fun. And gosh, those dogs are something extra because I also have one that runs around everywhere. And every time the kids would be like, "Oh, hi, Bentley." And I'm like, "Yep, there he is. There's his fluffy tail again." So
Yeah, yeah.
well, that's great. No, I think having that sense of community is so important. And that's what people are looking for when they come into like a boutique fitness environment. They want that sense of community. They want to feel like they're belonging and really providing them with that. It seems like you guys are doing a great job. So wonderful. Well, what is a core differentiator that makes you a successful franchisee? If you had to think of something, what would be that core differentiator?
I think the core defense, sorry. my
You're
tongue got-
good. You're good. What makes you stand out?
Okay. I think it's because I hate to say it, but I'm there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
teach most of the foundations classes.
Mhm.
I'm 60, and so
Amazing. I don't believe it.
yes, I do still cartwheels in the backyard. I just with my
I believe
grandson.
that. Yep.
I still jump on the trampoline with them. We have so much fun. And I think for women to see, okay, and and I still teach the
Yeah.
hardcore ones,
Mhm.
but I think for women to see it's not the age, it is really just keeping that youth mentality and keeping
Mhm.
strength to your bodies. Um, but I love it. And I love women to really infuse that passion for fitness and what it can do for their day-to-day lives.
Mhm.
So my team is infatuated by my passion, and they
Yeah.
kind of dwell, even though they're much younger than I am. But yeah, I think because as you see, my demographic is probably a good 10 years older,
Yeah.
but I have my teenage girls, I have my 20-year-old girls,
Mhm.
but I also have several in their 60s and 70s
Yeah.
in my studio.
Mhm. Able to inspire a large range, which is great.
Yes, yes.
All right. So last question, what advice would you give to a franchisee just starting out?
Talk to people like me that made all the mistakes.
I love it. Yes.
Okay. I would have them interview other franchisees
That's great.
to just get some more information, that it's not just it's not about just making money.
Mhm.
And then I should have had a lesson on how to make money. I've just been very blessed with learning over the years. But getting those interviews, getting somebody that knows digital marketing. I went with magazines and a couple of magazines, huge amount of investment, but
Mhm.
very little feedback from it.
Sure.
I think
Sure.
it's just hearing people talk about it. So I think getting wise counsel from people
Mhm.
that's already walked through it, and then the professionals.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Ellen, for joining us
Welcome.
today. That was so nice. Very proud of your studio and how you guys continue to serve your community. Thank you so much for hopping on with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nick,
Thank
I'll
you.
let you kind of take it away.
Yes, thank you, Ellen and Katie. That was awesome. And one of my takeaways was infatuated with passion. I love that. I'm going to start using that too. Please, if you have any questions, let us know in the chat. I've seen one come through in the chat and one in the Q&A. So Jake, we're going to throw this one from Lindsay Simpson to you. How much budget percentage do you dedicate to retargeting?
That is a really good question. You obviously don't want to spend 0% and you don't want to spend 100%. I'd say generally we start off with a third, so 33%. We'll take a broad approach. We'll target people with interest in Pure Barre or whatever brand it is, and we'll add retargeting to that as well. Generally, Facebook is going to shift that budget around as needed to drive down the cost per lead to whatever their algorithm says is going to do the best. We see that, leaving the budget management a little bit more hands off and letting Facebook's algorithm figure that out is generally the best approach. However, we can force retargeting to happen, which would be great for following up on events and stuff like that. Sometimes it would be 0%. Sometimes it's a new location, maybe that's in pre-sale right now. They have not even had their Facebook page up for 90 days, so there's really not an audience to target to. So at some point there has to be some kind of audience to target to. We also don't want the full budget to go to just a handful of people. So, if you have 10,000 people that have engaged with your brand and through these various channels, we don't want to advertise to just those people because we want to see what lead cost is going to be like from a broad or interest approach. Hope that answers your question.
Awesome.
About 30%.
30%. Okay. And Mark is asking in our Q&A, is there visibility in our dashboard
For retargeting?
I'm guessing that's Mark, if you want to type an answer there, but I'm guessing that's if there's visibility for the different types of audiences that are being targeted. Yep.
Generally it's not. You're going to see a cost per lead. So your account manager, your success manager can dive into the account for you, with you, and show you what is going on with retargeting.
On our next call, Mark, let's look at it together. We can check that out.
Awesome. And last question, Jake, what is the difference between a lookalike audience and a retargeting audience?
That's also a great question. A retargeting is showing ads to people that have already engaged before. A lookalike audience would be targeting people that look like people who have engaged with your business already, whether that's they're 1% different, 10% different, based off of all of Facebook's thousands of factors on who those people might be. It's great to use them hand in hand and test out people who look like people who've engaged with my business already and those that didn't actually take any action. So sometimes, we use just the 25% of the budget on retargeting, 25% on lookalike, and then 50% on the other two types.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That is all the questions that we have, but please feel free to reach out to us by email. And we're also going to be sending out a recording of this webinar if anybody wants to share that. And, just thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today. We already can't wait to see you next time. And we look forward to working with you to achieve your entrepreneurial dreams. Have a great day, everybody.